For just a moment, I want you to think about the second characteristic of a servant. And that second characteristic is forgiveness. Forgiveness is absolutely vital in that part of being a servant. I can just tell you that Paul understood this very well. In Philippians chapter 2, he said, listen, don't think so much about yourself, but always be worried about others. Forgiveness is that enablement to think about others. Forgiveness is the means by which we walk, you might say, in the footsteps of Jesus, the footsteps of God. I remember that really, I could say forgiveness is in two parts. The first part is being willing to forgive others who may have wronged you. For example, I remember several years ago a gentleman who was really ugly toward me and was just not nice, created all kinds of havoc. And things happened that weren't real good because of what he had done. But God took care of it in his own way and his own time. But sometime later, some years later, we were able to get together again, and he asked me, he says, he first said, I wronged you. I did all kinds of things I shouldn't have done. Could you ever forgive me? And I said, my friend, I forgave you a long, long time ago. And he was moved by that. Forgiveness opened that door for he to have a new, you might say, lease on life, to be able to walk with God even more than he'd ever done before. And it's important for us to be able to forgive others, even though they wrong us, even they do that. That's really what Jesus did when he was there on Calvary. You know, Paul says there in Philippians 2 that Jesus humbled himself and was obedient to the point of death, even death on the cross. He forgave. In fact, you remember he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgiveness is the enablement of us to look out with the heart of God toward others. I would just say this as well. The second part of forgiveness is being willing to ask for forgiveness of others along the way, even though you may not have done anything at all. It may have even been long before you ever got there. I can tell you there's been countless times as a pastor and as an administrator where I've visited people and talked with people and they've said, hey, the church did this to me, the conference did this to me, somebody did this to me. And the best thing I could do was say, would you be kind enough to forgive us? Would you give us another chance? That opens up the door for dialogue. It opens up the door for genuine growth that takes place on the part of all involved. And it's after the heart of God. You know, think about it this way. God said that David was a man after his own heart. And I'm convinced the reason why he was a man after God's own heart is because, frankly, David did all kinds of crazy stuff, but he understood God's forgiveness. And David, because of that, learned forgiveness. And if you're a servant of God, you've got to be one who learns to forgive and to ask for forgiveness. Think on it for just a moment.